Recording in progress. We are ready. We are ready to learn how to apply for our visas. Well, actually, that's the next module. We're going to break down just the five most popular expat visas and exactly what you need to do in order to make sure all of your stuff is working for that. So, we're going to get right into it, and I am going to share my screen and we're going to get into presentation mode and look all professional and everything. I even did a beautiful PowerPoint presentation for you. Bam! There it is. Popular visa types for Rwanda. And what we're going to do once again is kind of talk through the processes for some of these popular ones. And we're going to go ahead and start right on off with what's the purpose of this entire meeting. So I wanted to outline a purpose that in this video, we're going to focus on understanding the most popular visas and what you need to be able to obtain so you can secure one of those visas for your residency in Rwanda. So we're focusing on understanding and details about, I was going to say obtaining these visa things. And so we go into the actual criterion of what we're looking for. And I don't know if I'm in your way or not. So I'm going to come down here. Hello. The five most popular visas for most expats. You start with V12, which is reciprocity. You have your Class C, prescribed professions. You have your Class K, which is assured income. And then you have your business A, B, F, G, W, and X, or your Class Z. And so these are the ones that, especially with the work that we've done with My Cousin Connection, and if you haven't heard of my site, you will. And I hope that you go because there's a lot of helpful information there. But these are the ones that we tend to help people out with the most. Now, if you saw the previous video, you know that there are just actually a lot of different visas or permits you can look at. But we're going to focus on this one. We're going to start first with the V12 reciprocity visa. Doesn't it sound like the V8 drink from back in the day? Well, it's kind of like that. It's one of these kind of take all visas to nurture your soul. And so the V12 reciprocity visa has a distinct purpose. And that purpose is understanding first what is reciprocity. And that is the practice of exchanging things with others for a mutual benefit, especially privileges granted by one country or an organization to another. So, in this case, the mutual benefit is that it's allowing foreign citizens the opportunity to truly explore Rwanda on a continuous basis without having to worry about visas. So, for your tourists who like to come, or you want to travel throughout the continent, what's happening is that you are able to stay here for longer term stays for a longer year. And you can just kind of keep coming back and forth. So it's kind of like it can be up to a maximum. And we're going to talk about that 10-year visa that just takes care of everything. So when we talk about the V12, let's just break it down to what it is. V12 is the long term visitor visa. It's issued to a foreigner who regularly visits Rwanda. It will be used for travel, conferences, visits, but not working purposes. And when we say not working purposes, not for the purpose of working and receiving income on Rwanda. That this visa will not be able to do that for you. Now, your requirements in order to obtain this visa are actually very minimal. The requirements are your passport valid within 6 months, a photo with a background, and an application letter. That's it. Because what you're doing is you're really looking at the idea of you're a tourist, but you're asking for a longer term in tourism stay. So therefore, you do not have to complete all of the other checks and balances. I'm going to say that is part of the other visas. Now, the details follow as this, and they are very strict on this to the point that you might get lectured at the consulate or the office because they want you to understand the parameters are very strict. You must leave the country every 6 months. You must leave the country every 6 months. Now, they don't say where you have to go, and they don't give you a duration. So you literally could go just to Uganda for a weekend and come back. But once you must leave the country every 6 months, or the visa can be canceled and voided. So they are very strict about that. Also, you cannot have dependents on this visa. So if you have children, your children will not be dependents recognized on the V12. It does allow for multiple entries. Work is not allowed. And once again, when we say work, we are talking about you receiving income from Rwanda in a work or business capacity. So you cannot own a business on a V12 if you're also working in Rwanda and doing taxes and everything. Remember, we're talking immigration here. So these are the legal expectations and ramifications. If you start a business in Rwanda, they want you to exchange the V12 visa for a business visa. Now, majority of the time, they will approve this one to be good for 10 years. It is not a promise or guarantee, but it can be. And for most people I have seen, it has been good for 10 years. So your V12 payment is $160. And this is what's unique about that. Where can you apply for the V12? Hmm. Well, we highlighted this one because you can apply for the V12 while you're still in the United States, or if you have a embassy in your country. So I don't know about one for UK, but I can tell you regarding the US that you can go simply to the rwandanembassy.org website, and they have all the information there for you. They want you to be able to mail your application, passport, and information to the following address, and this is their telephone number and email. But definitely reach out to them and also ask about how long it takes to process everything. Now, we do know a couple people who've gone through this and they've received it no problem. So you can, once again, get this in the states where you are. So this is one of that pre-planning things that if you want to do and you know this is the visa you want to do, you can easily do it there. Or even though it's not advertised, you can do it here in Rwanda. And I've actually walked a couple of people through that system. So if you just want to land here and kind of get a lay of the land, and then you say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do the V12. You can, and it takes about 2 weeks to process. And we actually have people who come in on their tourist visa. And then towards the end of their tourist visa, they decide to go ahead and apply for their V12, and they have their paperwork and everything handled just like that. So that is how you apply for the V12. So I do want to note that the V12 is the only visa through these that you can get when you're not in Rwanda. Majority of the other visas you get while you're here in Rwanda. But don't worry, repeat again, you can fly into Rwanda with no visa and get visa upon arrival. That is not an issue. Now we're going to break down this Class C visa. And Class C is actually broken down into two categories. Subclass 1 is prescribed professionals, and then your subclass 2 is a professional player or artist. So this is your professions visa. So this really kind of goes in for if you have another job that is not a Rwandan based job that is pretty much paying you, and you can have a substantial income on your own. As long as you can prove that you are that professional, you can qualify for this visa. So we're going to break that one down a little bit. And so here are your requirements. Let me see if I can move. There we go. You have your valid passport travel document. You have an application letter. And if you watch the next module, I actually show you how to do all of that. You have your visa permit form. You have your photo with your white background. Then you also have a certificate of membership to a registered professional body. Hence, remember when I said you have to prove? So, for instance, for me, I actually used to work as a teacher. I would probably see if I could get like a teacher union if I was teaching online or something, or I would get my contract and show them that I am basically working someplace else, but I'm just here virtually, and I would be able to qualify for that. I've had people ask me, oh, I'm a photographer. Well, usually there's like either a photographer union or maybe a press or something like that. And so this is one of those wonderful times that you can actually call them and get detailed information. But as long as you have a certificate of membership that shows that you work in a different capacity and you can receive income by doing that capacity, you should be okay. And I think that's one of the reasons you see a lot of legal things going on, because Rwanda's really paying attention to who is coming and bringing in income and support, and who is kind of sitting here waiting for Rwanda to support them and do that. They want I want to say the word is circulatory, but I would say more of like a triangle. They want a society that is moving in unison and together and rotating around. So they're just making sure that this is a visa opportunity for these people who already have a job. They could actually stay here and work, but they just have to prove they have income. You do need a police clearance certificate from the country you stayed in for the previous 6 months, and a detailed resume, which they call curriculum vitae, and those are your requirements for Class C1 at this time, with a payment of $150. Now, what are your details? You can have dependents upon this one, no problem. And dependents can be elders as well. Elders and children, and I believe the age is 23 and under. Any child over 23 is no longer considered a dependent. I thought it was 18, but somebody said they changed it. So that's another question you want to ask. But if you go back, there is a dependent visa that children can register for. You do have multiple entry. Work is allowed, change of status is allowed, and this visa is good for up to 2 years and easily renewable upon application. So that's your C1 and C2. Let's keep on going. Ease on down the road. Yes, so we have now our class K, and this is for, we like to call our VIP persons, our seniors, our retired, our folks with an assured income. And first, snap it out that you're at that level of life where you can sit back and receive your assured income. And it does say including a retired person who does not intend to be employed in Rwanda. And the Directorate General determines the eligibility of the applicant. And so this is the Class K. Now, the Class K has requirements, and it says any genuine acceptable travel document valid not less than 6 months, your passport, your application letter, photo with a white background, the visa permit application form, a detailed curriculum vitae resume. And if we know it's been so long since you've written one, if you just don't go and put something together, because nobody's calling your references and checking, just go put something together so you could submit it, everything will be all right. Bank statement from any bank in Rwanda, proof of source of your assured income. So if you're getting Social Security or anything, you're going to have to be able to prove that. You're going to have a police clearance certificate from the country of West residence from the previous 6 months, and the payment of 150 Rwandan francs. Now, I have two checks to the side because there's been a couple of changes with this visa that we've heard about from the actual ministry. However, they have not published these. And I personally kind of believe they're still making some adjustments. So this is something we have to constantly follow, because they're still trying to figure out exactly how to make sure that this hits everybody in a fair way. And one of the ones I want to say is right here. The first is, once you apply for your Class K, you can apply and then have 6 months with it and so you can have time to do everything else. So you can apply almost immediately after your 30 days. You do not have to show your bank statement at that point in time or proof of source of income. What's happening is that basically you're appending, and then they turn around and say that you have up to 6 months to complete the entire process. Now, this is a new one. They are going to ask to see proof of health insurance from a Rwandan based health provider. And there are a couple of health providers depending on your age for Rwanda. And the major one is UAP. So give me a quick second. I know you can see me up here. I'm trying to Google real quick what UAP stands for. Their website is uaprwanda.rw, and if you're going to Google and check them out, um, they have private individualized health insurance and will give you a quote. And if you're having problems with that, um, just email them. I noticed that when I reached out to them on their Facebook page, they responded quicker to them when I emailed them. But it is pocket friendly. And I was trying to find out. It's UAP Old Mutual. UAP Insurance Rwanda is a subsidiary of the UAP Old Mutual Group, which is okay, it's a whole bunch of technical things here. But the website, once again, is uaprwanda.rw. Now, there's also another one if you're 60 and older. This is if you're 65 and older, and you can get that information through us if you need to just email or whatever. I'll see if I can do another quick presentation. But you will have to have proof of health insurance from a Rwanda based provider. Like I said, and I want you to see here, it says as November 2021, because this only happened in July. So this is a very, very new policy. The other thing that you want to see is that they want to see that you have a minimum income of 3,000, which actually came down from 5,500. That was another change that instituted in July. So when they ask for your proof of source of income, they want to see that you get at least 3,000 in assured income. So these are rules from immigration. If you have questions, please call them because they're the ones that will be able to know. And they're very friendly in trying to give you information, or you just ask for the next person, the person at the top. They get friendlier and friendlier. So the details are dependents are allowed on this one. So even if it's just one person, if it's a spouse situation, one can sponsor the other if necessary. So that's quite easy. There is multiple entries. Work is not allowed. Change of status is allowed. This is good for up to 2 years and it's renewable upon application. We're getting through this, babies. So now we have our business visas. And so this is why I put A, B, F, G, W, and X, because each of your businesses are actually outlined in a different visa. You have prospecting and mining, agriculture, manufacturing and processing, trade, business and services, information technology, and transports and logistics. So if you're creating a business underneath one of these, you're going to turn around and make sure that you're applying for that business license. So we're going to go in real quick and I'm going to go ahead and highlight some interesting things about these. Number one, each section that we just talked about, hence if I said section W, has two sections underneath it. One is for investor, the other is for entrepreneur. So if you're just looking at investing, you can find yourself into one. Those are two different visas. And the investor, you get an investment certificate from RDB. So that takes me down to point two. You need paperwork from RDB in order to set this up. As an investor, you can go to RDB and invest and register as an investor. And there's an entire department that's there that actually helps you as an investor to help you figure out and negotiate your deals, know about other opportunities and different things. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to register your business and you're going to make sure that you get your business certificate from RDB. And you can take about 2 days to 3 days to get all of that information. Honestly, it can be one day, but I just want to give that leeway because sometimes things don't move as fast as you want. But I haven't seen it be more than 3 days. But you're going to have your certificate that is issued to you. And all of that can be done online, but you can easily go to RDB if you want assistance. The third point is once you get your visa, investors will be valid for 3 years, and an entrepreneur is going to be valid for 2 years. So that's something that's really different and unique that the years on these visas are different. Investors, 3 years. There you go. Entrepreneur, 2 years. And let me make sure I didn't give you a slide on this one. I'm going to give you I'm going to go back because I'm going to say one of the things that happens with the business visa, I know for sure, is that when you first apply for your business visa, they validate you for 6 months because they're giving you a chance to get your business off the ground. So they don't give it to you for the full 2 years immediately, they give it to you for 6 months. And another thing they're going to turn around and ask, is where is your office or can they go and evaluate the office? They do associate you having a physical location office with you having a business. That doesn't mean you can't get it. We have it. A lot of people have it. It's just kind of like that system of, oh, you have a business. Where's your office? And I'll just go ahead and be candid because in my case, I was like, oh, my home is my office. And they were kind of like, no, a home is not an office. A home is a home. An office is an office. So just know that if they're going to come and ask, because they're going to come and say that they want to do an investigation, they use a harsh word. They're only trying to see if you have an office. It is not a full investigation. It is not. No questions asked, no notebooks. They're really trying to see if you have an office space. Okay. Requirements is your passport, visa permit form, application letter, photo with white background, business registration certificate, or if you're going for your investor certificate, your police clearance. And I didn't put it here, but that's from the 6 months from your previous location of residency, and a detailed curriculum vitae, which is also your resume. Cost of that is $150 per application process. So the details of the business visa are all pretty much the same. You can have dependents. There's definitely multiple entry, um, fidelity, and points to consider are the things that I talked about already, which is your difference in your years that we talked about, and as well as making sure that everything is set up for you to go. After you pretty much do your business visa and you get approved, you really want to go to RRA, which is the taxation. So you can make sure that you're starting to set up because that is part of the tracking system in order for you to know if you're going to be able to qualify after that 6 months for business. You want to make sure all your stuff is together. Now, there's one more business visa, and it's very simple, and it's called Class Z. And that's really your other. So if you had a business that was not described in the other 7 letters I gave you, 5 to 7, then you put your business under here. So if we go back, I'm going to go back just kind of quickly to the differences here. So prospect mining, agriculture, manufacturing, trade, businesses, services, information technology, transports, and logistics. So if you wanted to open a restaurant, you're going to go over to Class C. If you want to do something in medical, you're going to Class C. If you're doing yoga, if you're doing spiritual practices, you're going to Class C. So you still can have a business. You're just going into the different category, and Class Z is that one. It's kind of like that beautiful other. Like, we want you here. We just want to make sure that you can stay. So, once again, with this, while it's in a different category, all of the same requirements. Everything is exactly the same. And it too is split into the investor and entrepreneur levels. So there's really nothing new to say on this one. Dependents are allowed, multiple entry, Work is allowed. I guess I copied that. I'm sorry. So let's just black that out. Sorry. Change of status is allowed, 2 years renewable upon application. So let me say this in case somebody's not paying attention. Work is allowed. Yes, we want you to work. Yes. Okay. So that's the details with that one. And I can take this off. Here we go. And if you did not see a visa for your needs, please go to the website. Like I said, there are permits and there's visas. There's definitely something that should be able to fit into your category. If not, please email immigration or call them, tweet them, or you can reach out to them in any kind of way. This is the website for them. So you can go right there to migration.gov.rw slash home slash. But of course, you can also just Google Rwanda immigration and the website will pop up immediately. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this really kind of helped break down some of those questions of what is needed and what's not. I think the biggest question you're going to have after this is, how do I get my police report? And that part is actually very easy. I will drop a very small video to walk you through just in case you need some assistance. But that was kind of state to state. So I might just kind of give you some articles on that one too. But for anything else, it was good seeing you. I hope you retained all the information you needed. If not, take notes in your note journal. I'll see you later. And if I say I see you later, that means I'm turning off the camera. Bye.